and I invite you to tune in to Supreme Vibes Radio. This and every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. for our Inspirational Saturdays, and the repeat show on Tuesday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Come join us as we discuss various relatable topics as we seek to motivate and inspire. Stick and stay with us. Part of this show, we truly and honestly appreciate it. Without you listeners, this show would not be possible. Listeners, this week we're going to be talking about the children, and we're going to be looking at how we can raise our children, or how we should raise our children in a way that they can survive and still be positive, productive, and functional after COVID, or should I say post-COVID. Children, training up our children. And today I want you to listen to me keenly and understand what I'm trying to bring across. Now, my first show was about COVID-19. COVID-19 is not a topic that I want to talk about, that I want to deliberate on. It's not something that I want to consistently be talking about. I decided not to talk about COVID-19 as I did not want to keep it alive. I felt that, by talking about it, ever so often, I am part of the problem. And I prefer to be part of the solution, and so in my mind, I'm saying, you know what? I will not talk about this virus that is wreaking havoc on us. But I will instead try to do what needs to be done in order to protect self and others, But guess what? I have come to realize that it is not going anywhere. Well, not for now. And I have to face this reality. All right. So now, with the insertion of COVID-19 into our lives, we have made adjustments in how we operate on a daily basis. We have to. It forces us to make these adjustments as it relates to how we operate on a daily basis, whether it is wearing off mask whenever we're in public spaces, doing a Skype call instead of having a picnic out by the beautiful ocean. Whatever the prescribed method is that is handed to us in order to keep ourselves on. I am not there. Tell the person I'm not here. Telling the child not to lie, and when your phone rings, you give the child the phone and say, well, answer, and tell the person that I'm in the shower, or I am not here right now, you're just here with your grandmother or something. That's the confusion that we get. You see, children are born pure. Children do not form opinions and attitudes without our help. Note that when a child is young and a child gives their opinion, yes, in their own childish way, it is real. So if they look at you and they tell you, well, Mom, I don't believe you should be wearing that to work this morning because the color is not right and it don't look good and it's not. They are being truthful. It is not until they recognize or they learn and they observe our behavior before they become hypocrites. We teach children how to become hypocrites because we now say to them, listen, instead of saying outright, oh, your shoes is not looking good, say, well, I like the color of the shoes, but I believe the heel could be a little bit shorter. So we're teaching them how to become hypocrites. We're teaching them how to sugarcoat. We're teaching our children how to lie. And because we are based on our behavior and our attitudes. And we believe that if we just tell them the right thing, say something that sounds nice, and behave differently, we're doing good by them. Think again. I say to you that this is the ripe time now. The time is ripe now for us to do this, for us to engage our children positively and focus on them and their well-being and their development. Remember, especially the younger ones, the babies, the toddlers, they have not been given the opportunity to socialize in a way they should because of COVID-19. COVID-19 have taken away the social fabric from their lives. And so we owe it to them to ensure that we engage them so we don't have a world tomorrow filled with psychopaths, filled with people who believe that, listen, I cannot survive among people, and so I am going to lock myself in this room. We don't want to next season. We have a world filled with psychopaths because of COVID-19. Right? So we have to, the time is ripe now for us to engage our children properly in order to ensure that the world tomorrow will reflect what we do today with today's leaders. I'll repeat this so you can understand what I'm saying. The time is ripe now for us to do this. The world tomorrow will reflect what we do today with tomorrow's leaders. The children are the leaders of tomorrow. So what we do with them today will reflect tomorrow when they become leaders. So the time is ripe now. And since we are given this opportunity to be home with them, let's do good by them. See, you have to first believe in this initiative. What I'm saying to you have to believe in it. It is important for us to believe in this initiative in order to ensure betterment of our country. Otherwise, you will not see the value in using this time wisely to truly, really, truly, and decently raise up our children to be positive and productive. It is our duty. It is our job. Let us do our job well. We have been given sufficient time to do this well. We cannot fail our children. We cannot. We just simply cannot. They are depending on us for so many things now because they are not able to get it elsewhere. On the topic of raising our children, we have to understand our role as parents, as caregivers. You know, whatever it is that we are in our children's life, we have to understand our fundamental role. You know, we blame the teachers for not giving our children enough time and attention. As a matter of fact, we blame the school. In the same breath, if the teacher reaches out to us about our children not behaving according to the rules and regulation of the school, some of us are quick to state that our children are perfect and would never display such poor behavior. No, schools are out. Well, most schools are out. And we are not able to blame the teachers now for, the behavior, the school. We tend to blame the school. Oh, our children are socializing with other kids, and these children are from different homes, and probably the behavior that they're displaying is a behavior that they learned from their friends. We find all sorts of excuse to justify our children's behavior. Now, many of us being home with our children are very much surprised at some of the behavior that our very same children are displaying. And we would not be privy to those type of behaviors if it wasn't for the fact that we are spending more time at home with them. The truth of the matter is, because our children are spending quite a number or most of their time at school, we're not able to see these behaviors. And of course, when they return home, they're able to control, because they have a shorter time within which to control their behavior, And so we are not able to see this poor behavior coming out in our children. Many of us know, and let me say, this is the very reason when schools are open, the schools are filled, because a lot of parents, even though they are not at work, they're not engaged at work, or probably some of our parents are working online, some of our parents are working from home. When schools are open, the schools are filled because the parents are so eager to get rid of their own children, right? To take these children to school, hoping that the teachers will help to contain them and to, grow them, and they are readily willing to send the children to school, as schools are as advisories are out to say, listen, schools are open. School's full. As the door opens, school full. In a time like now where COVID is still not under control. And if you want to be true to yourself, you can sit back and look and say, well then listen, this is fact. I become very frustrated, overwhelmed, with having to deal with my own child, my children. And so I say to you, we now should understand and appreciate the job of our teachers, the very same teachers that we blame. We should understand and appreciate the schools, because the schools become the homes for the children when we do not want to have them at home, when we are not able to keep them at home because we have work. And now, even when we're at home and the states are opening schools, we are quick to send them back to school, even though COVID is not under control. Even though COVID is not under control, because we are frustrated in dealing with our children. Now that we're home with our children in a more consistent way, we're able to recognize the behavior patterns that is sometimes appalling to us. So the next time when we return to some sort of normalcy, a principal, a teacher asks you to come to the school to have a discussion about your child's behavior, think twice before you put them on a pedestal. Now, not only that we blame the teachers or the school, we blame the music. We blame the music sometimes, referring to the artist and their craft. But who is responsible for ensuring that our children are not listening to the music we feel is warping their minds? We are. So we blame the music. We say, well, then listen, the type of music that are being produced today are not child friendly. And it's because of this reason why our children are lacking humility. It's because of this reason why our children have this get rich quick mentality. It's because of this reason why our children are so aggressive. We blame the music. Who is responsible? Yes, we might say that we don't play these type of music at home, and therefore the environment outside of home is enabling their awareness towards the lyrics. But think about it. When we provide our children with the various tools without supervision, who is the biggest enabler? So we give them the tablet, we give them the phone, we give them the desktop, whatever technological device that we can get our hands on, we give it to our children. Yeah, we give them as a gift because that's what they want. And there is no supervision of what sites they access. There's no supervision of what information they access. We just put this in their hand. And now the world is at their fingertips. Now listen, an artist is going to produce based on their style, right? And us as parents, we are responsible for ensuring that our children are not exposed. Now, mind you, our children move through various spaces, going to school, going to the park, going to our friends' home, and I'm now talking about before COVID. And so moving through those various spaces, they might, of course, hear these music being played wherever. Now, if we train our child at home to say, listen, these are not the type of lyrics that is for you. These are adult music, and have them understand the appreciation of adult content and children content, then even when they're moving through these spaces, they will not pay attention to the content of these lyrics. But we can't just sit back and say we're going to blame the music and blame the artists for doing their craft. We have to play an integral role to ensure that our children understand the difference between being an adult and being a child. Once we do this, then our children will apply what we have the responsibility to ensure that we train them. Now, we blame designers. It might sound simple, listeners, but this is reality. We blame the designers and we talk about the type of clothing that designers are now making, and they're not children friendly, and they're exposing the children's body, and boys are now wearing certain type of clothing that is not suited. We blame. Again, we have the responsibility to ensure that we do not engage our children this way. So we blame the designers, yet when we dress them inappropriately. There is no clear distinction of what a child should look like in comparison to what an adult should look like. You will see a mother going to the mall with her daughter, and if she's wearing a very short shorts, she dresses her daughter in a very short shorts. Mind you, you have the responsibility, or you have the choice to purchase whatever you need to purchase for your child. But when the child start displaying ill behavior, do not point the finger unless it's a big finger that you're pointing onto yourself. right? So if the mother is wearing a very skimpy-like clothing, then she dressed the daughter in a very skimpy-like clothing, matching outfits, right? And now the child does not understand that, listen, because we don't have to wear what children are wearing, the same type of design, to let them understand that, what we need to let them understand is that adults are different from children, and so children attire is different from adult attire. We speak with them using adult-like language. We play adult type music. We dance. There is this social platform, social media platform that is going around. And when you look at some of the content, you see kids, babies, dancing in a very distasteful manner for a child, and it is not seen as anything. We laugh about it and say, the child can dance. And then when the child grows up and start displaying certain type of behavior, we point on our fingers, in another direction to cast blame, right? Know that the world is slowing, or has slowed down, and the children are home with us. These are some of the things that we need to fix. We need to fix these things, right? We need to ensure that we're engaging them, and we are engaging them properly. We need to feed our children. We need to feed our children with positive information, with a positive outlook on life. We cannot continue to, embrace anything and everything and then blame everyone and anyone when our children start behaving differently. So know that our children is consistently in our care and our care alone because of COVID-19 that stipulates that we should stay home, in order to be safe. Let us now focus on some of these things and fix it for our children. Let us teach our children how to dress appropriately. Let us teach our children how to be children. Let us teach our children how to approach life. We cannot continue to feed our children with the wrong medicine, and when they become addicted, we begin to blame the pharmaceutical companies. It does not make any practical sense. We must reverse the act of not doing our job in raising our children. And listeners, if not before, it is needed now, because we are in a space where our children are depending on us. They are depending on us. Are you really realizing the effect of COVID-19 on our children? The mental stability and social inclusion of our children is being disturbed. Let us step up and do the right thing by our children. Let me just share something with you that I wrote, and it goes, children are the future, and the future will become what they learned in the past. The past is now their present, and this is critical to their holistic development. We have blamed the music, the movies, whatever we are able to blame for their improper conduct without taking the responsibility that we have failed them. Now that the world is in slow motion, now that the parties have slowed down, schools, churches, all places of social gathering and entertainment have slowed down, how are we training up our children? Since now they are in our presence consistently. What will the future look like when the world returns to normal and the children become leaders? Remember, this time we should not be casting blame on anyone or anything, as our moments spent with our children now during this slow period is critical for a better tomorrow. I hope you understand that. How do we do this? 1, we have to bond with our children. Bonding with our children now is critical as they are not afforded the social platform like before. They have been robbed of the interpersonal engagement, which I believe is essential in our children's life. They are not able to engage in an interpersonal way. They are not able to be with friends physically, family members physically anymore in this time and space. Our children instead are being taught not to engage unless it's 6 feet away or by practicing social distancing. The world before, where they could get a hug from a friend if they were sad, a visit with a family member whom they long to see, is a different world now. And so we cannot provide the phone, the television, the various gadgets to our children to give them comfort. We just can't. Gone were the days when, our child would be unhappy and we give them a tablet and say, okay, here's a tablet, enjoy yourself. No, we cannot do that in this day and age because they are lacking the social fabric that is important for their holistic development. The world is telling them do not touch. The world is telling them stay 6 feet apart if you have to go in public space. The world is telling them wear a smile, so now you cannot, wear a mask, so now you cannot see the smile. You cannot see the smile to say I'm happy to see you if you're out in a public space. And so this is the time for us to bond with our children. Give them the hug that they can't get. Give them the listening ear that their friends used to give to them when we were not giving it to them. Give them the advice that the other family members used to give to them when we were not engaging them. We have to spend this moment to bond with our children. Punish differently. If you have to punish differently. If we have to punish our children for a bad behavior, please, listeners, please, the naughty corner will not work in this time. The world is already a naughty corner for all of us. Therefore, putting our children in a naughty corner to correct their behavior should not be a solution at this time. What we need to do is to sit our children down and talk to them. Say to them why their behavior was wrong and what would be the correct behavior. Don't just tell them not to do something without explaining to them why they are not supposed to do it. Sit with them and talk to them. That is what is needed now. You know what, listeners? You know what? In a world before COVID, we used to give our children the tablets, the computers, the television, whatever it is, the toys to appease them when we're happy with their behavior. But I want to say to you, switch it now. When you're not happy with their behavior now, when we're saying to them social distancing and physical distancing is the way to go to be safe, when you're not happy with them, let's take away the tablet, take away the phone, take away the television, and replace that with interpersonal relationship with your children. That is what is needed now. Do you understand that if we continue to punish the way we used to punish before, we are creating a future world filled with psychopaths, filled with children who are suicidal because we are not engaging in an interpersonal way? It it's a serious situation, listeners, for our children. And I'm very passionate about it because I'm looking at the future. And it is true. Our children are the future. Now, another point is, instead of being concerned, now we are concerned that the children are not able to, go back to school in a normal way. They're not able to learn the mathematics. They're not able to learn the chemistry, whatever it is. We're concerned about the pedagogy, that they are not able to, to quickly get their fingers on, because they're not going to school, and school is online and it is different, yes, it is different from face to face. Yes, of course it is, right? And we are concerned that they might not be as bright as we want them to be, and so we're very concerned about that. But why not use the time to teach your child how to cook? Since they're spending more time at home, why not use the time to teach your child how to keep a place clean? Why not use the time to teach your child how to make something, how to be creative? Why not use the time to teach your child about simple things, humility? These are the things that we should be using. These are the things that we should be teaching our children using the time that we now have, rather than being so concerned about the various subject matters that they're missing by not, going to school, or by not grasping as much, when they're doing their online classes. Use our time to teach them the simpler part of life that will help them in the future, in their adult life. This will make a difference. Why not engage our children in this way? There are so many things that we can do differently if we just think about it smartly and understand the time that we have with our children. We need to understand the time that this is a time that we cannot be impatient with our children. You have to ensure that you have patience, because like I said before, they do not have that extra avenue to go to when it's lacking at home. They do not have it. They just don't have it. So we now have to give it to them, because we want, when they step out in the world tomorrow as the president of the country, we want, when they step out in the world tomorrow as the doctors, they are functional. They are functional. Because if we allow COVID to take away these innate ability for us to engage our children and continue to say, okay, I'm going to sit back and wait until the world starts, our children are breaking. Our children are breaking. Think about it logically. They are not able to run in the park as much as they used to with their friends anymore. So what do? Run with them. Run with them. Take them to the park whenever you can, when the parks are opened, and run with them. So those days when we were too caught up because we're busy at work, and so we would call a friend, or we would depend on their friends to take them to the park, it's no longer in existence. So put on your sneakers and go running with them, so that they can release that energy. We have to be careful. Be careful of what we're doing with our children now, because it's going to reflect in the future. And the future will determine how we engage our children in the present. Listeners, if we begin to do this, we can save the future of our world, but only if we begin to do the right thing. And the right thing to do is to engage our children in a way that will help with their holistic development, in such a way that even though they are not able to to enjoy this socialization of life, so to speak. Even though they're robbed of being able to, visit family and friends and enjoy that social fabric of life. They will be functional when the world returns to some sort of normalcy. Because, truth be told, the world cannot and will not return to normalcy if our children are abnormal. Thank you so very much for listening to me.
Yeah. Answer the words I am out in the meditation of your heart. Be acceptable. Or else you know that you're gonna be responsible. Sin. And I say you find yourself for the instrument of influence. Use it in a positive sense. Or else you're gonna pay the consequence. Rebel speaks again.